Yes, I do now get along with my family, and yes, there were points in the past where I was ridiculed by them, where I was made the terrible person. But the thing about reality is that it's all a reflection of your internal state. And so once I realized this, I realized the parts of me that I was doing that to myself with. And once I stopped doing that to myself, when I receive it on the external, it's kind of just like, it doesn't really impact me. Now, I do get along with my family, but I'm not going to go like hang out with them all the time. I do have very strong boundaries when it comes to my relationship with them. So I'm not going to say like everything is perfect, but I have learned how to handle myself and how to position myself as the creator of my reality, and anyone who wants to have a relationship with me, like they're willing to work with me as I'm willing to work with them, right? Because that's like the nature of relationships. But there was a point in time where I completely cut myself off from my entire family, and I was very much like on my own, and I realized that this was a coping mechanism. And I'm not going to say that it wasn't necessary. It was very necessary for me to come into my own level of being. And there are like certain things, certain topics, certain places, certain conversations that I will not go or will not have with my family, because those are boundaries that I have within myself. And at the end of the day, it's just about not abandoning where you come from for me. That's why I still have a relationship with my family, because I realize that they are my blood and their blood is within me. And obviously, like, I alchemize that part of me into being something new simply by showing up and being me. But to demonize them then still gives them power. So I learned that it's better to just be neutral. It's better to hold myself accountable in the ways that I can hold myself accountable, and not put so much focus on them, whether it be like blaming them, whether it be like, being mad at them, being upset. I've fully grieved the part of me that, and the parts of them that I like had a reality with, if that makes sense. So I've completely moved on from that period of my life, and so it no longer really impacts me. And I feel like doing this, I'm able to have a new relationship with new people, and in essence, like, it's like we're not the same people, and me going through that work and doing that work on myself is really what allowed me to hold the space for the change outside of me. Because it's like, if I continue to demonize them, like I said, I give them power in a way, but it's also like I perpetuate that story in my own head, and it's like, that's not the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where I have a good family. And just because I grew up where I didn't have that, it's like I can choose to have that now based on how I position myself in my relationships, right? And this isn't going to be the case for everybody. And you can go and create family outside of your existing like small family, and I've done that as well. So I see the benefits of doing it, of not speaking with your family, but I also see, for me personally, it was just like I didn't want to live like that. And I'm also very connected to like my womb, and so I'm just very connected to my bloodline. And the reason that I've been able to up level and do all the things that I've been able to do in my life is because of all of this contrast, right? So I am grateful for the contrast, and I've learned to forgive. That doesn't mean that I forget. That doesn't mean I'm going to reconcile with everybody. That doesn't mean I'm going to let myself be walked all over. But it's like I was saying, I've been able to come to a new state of being where I position myself differently in my reality. And this is what allows me to have a relationship with my family now that is more civil, that I can learn what I need to learn. But this is also how I relate to the world. Like, I don't see contrast as a bad thing. I don't see conflict as a bad thing. I don't like hate my haters. Like, I love every single experience for what it teaches me. And that's the power of true alchemy. And that's what I've been able to accomplish because of how much turmoil, how much contrast, how much shit I've been through in my life in regards to my family, in regards to just like my upbringing and all the things. So I'm not gonna sit back and like say that I didn't go through some shit, but like I'm grateful for the shit. And I'm still that same person. Like, I'm still that same person, but I also get to be this person too. And so there's a duality that comes with that. And that duality is what allows me to have a relationship with my family. Because in the past, that version of me, she wanted nothing to do with them. She ran away. She isolated herself. But in doing that, I realized that isolation isn't always the best. And sometimes you really do need to keep your enemies close, you know? And sometimes you gotta learn from, like, for me, I realized, like, I would rather learn from people who don't think that they know me, but don't really know me, than people who I let close to me, and then they, like, actually, like, have that hold on me. I'd rather learn from my family who like thinks that they know me but doesn't really know me, right? So it's just personal preference, and you're welcome to do whatever you want on your journey, but I wanted to share this because it has been truly transformational in like the way that I've been able to reorient and position myself in my reality by setting these boundaries, not only with like the external, but by like what I'm allowing myself to think about. Because like when I say like I'm not giving them power, because I'm not giving them, like, they had nothing to do with what happened to me. That was all me. I take accountability for that entire experience because I realize my role as a conscious creator. And so this really like sets the tone, rather than if I were to play into the other narratives, it would be like me making myself into a victim. And that's just how I see it. That's how I felt. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to make myself into the victim. I am the conscious creator of my reality. And to own that power is to know that I created, even before coming into this body, into this life, I created that situation and that scenario for a reason, for myself, for my soul to learn. And so I'm very grateful for that experience. And the people themselves are kind of irrelevant, but I'm also really grateful for them as well. And if it wasn't going to be family, it would have been someone else, you know? So just some food for thought. I hope that this was informational, and I can't wait to share more about me with you guys.